hope Toby's doing okay. Ooh, look at that!
Well, it didn't take very long for someone to spill Waggle all over my PlayStation 3, and as any Wii owner knows, it's impossible to get that shit off. This is Kung Fu Rider, a launch title for Sony's ballpoint motion controller, and one of the most unresponsive and generally awful video games on the platform. Now, if you've never used the Move controller, you should know this game's exceptional degree of lousiness has nothing to do with the hardware. The Move controller is about as accurate as it currently gets. I'd compare it to a Wii remote with the Motion Plus attachment, in fact. So, to be fair, it's not about the controller. Like so many horrendous Wii games, it's all about the software and how it chooses to utilize motion. Or in this case, unresponsive and detrimental waggle. To its credit, Kung Fu Rider starts off with a great premise. Toby and Karen are being chased through the streets by the Mafia, and their only means of transportation are various objects with wheels. Using things like office chairs and vacuum cleaners and baby carriages, you have to guide Toby and Karen through these steep and narrow streets to avoid their criminal hunters and, of course, complete each level. The game doesn't bother with cutscenes or anything, and I like that. There's a brief piece of dialogue during the menu screen, and that's all the plot setup you get. Frankly, that's all the setup you need, and it works. After that, however, all the wheels fall off. You play the game with a single Move controller, tilting it from side to side to steer, shaking it up and down to speed up, and flicking it upward to jump. Now, unless I'm waggling wrong, and I highly doubt that I am, the controls almost never work as they should. They all kind of blend together to form one jumbled mess of unresponsive shaking. Honestly, this is one of the most waggle-tastic games I've ever played, and I've been covering the Wii for like 4 years, which should tell you a lot about Kung Fu Rider. But to me, the bigger issue is the choice of that design in the first place. Developers should have learned this after the first year or two of Wii development. Basing an entire game around such nuanced motions just doesn't work. It doesn't work on Wii, and if early signs are any indication, it's not going to work for Sony either. Especially not for what is basically a downhill racing game. You need a lot more precision than aimless waggling can provide. Even if you can ignore the controller frustrations, there's not much to the game itself either. Every level starts with the same piece of dialogue, you're forced to race through repetitive levels, and although there are rankings to work toward and even a thin Mario Galaxy-like multiplayer option, you'd likely have to pay someone to get them to play with you. Kung Fu Rider is that bad, and no amount of boob physics or enticing ass shots can change that. Now, don't get carried away, this game doesn't spell doom for the PlayStation Move or anything, but it does prove that, despite whatever delusions the gaming industry may have, we're a long way from motion control supplanting analog sticks. This is really one of the worst motion control games I've ever played, and if you don't believe me, check out the pictures it took of me while I was playing. Doesn't look like much fun, does it? That's because Kung Fu Rider just isn't.